But Skip, do you blame Drake Maye for his performance or credit the Seattle defense?
So you're saying there's no crying in football, right?
No crying in football, man. A loss should have you pissed the fuck off, not sad and mopey. Like, nah, bro.
I guess maybe we go through worse stuff in life.
I guess.
I don't know.
I'm in the trenches, bro. I ain't crying over no fucking
I must
football.
admit, I'm with you. I did not love that, and I know you would defend it to a point, but this question's going to turn on a question that I don't have the definitive answer to, and that's, was he hurt and how hurt was he? He did say he got shot up. Quarterbacks don't often get their throwing shoulder shot up before a game because it's just hard to do it. It's a finesse movement of the body, and it's just hard to control it and be deadly accurate with a shoulder that you can't feel. It just feels unnatural. It doesn't feel the same way. And I think he was hurt, and I think one reason he choked up, teared up, was because it was just like Bo Nix. You got to the crescendo of your career, and all of a sudden, the game's in hand, and some freakish play happens, and you break your ankle. You know, like, what?
If not, Bo
ain't cried.
But if Bo would have cried, I understand that.
Okay, but you didn't see him, right?
Right.
I mean, was Bo crying? They said he was sitting out in the tunnel, right, when Sean went out to talk to him? Was he crying with his family?
I mean, that's understandable, though. Like, I just broke my fucking...
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree.
Like, that's crying.
But you said no crying in football.
I don't think he was crying.
I said crying in sad situations.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
Fucking sad. Like, I won a chip, but I can't go to the chip. I earned a ticket to the AFC chip, but I can't fucking go because I broke my ankle on the last play of the game. Like,
okay, but how would you feel if you're Drake Maye and you get to the freaking Super Bowl at age 23? You have 2 weeks to try to get your shoulder right, and you wake up on Sunday morning and it ain't right, and you know it's not, and you say, I'm going to get it shot up, and I will bet you it's the first time in his life he had a needle in his shoulder.
Right.
Not that he's afraid of needles. I'm just saying
Right.
It's a weird thing to do before by far times 100 the biggest game of your life. And he looked lost from the start in that game, like he didn't trust anything, including his eyes because of what's getting thrown at him. But I have respect for Drake Maye and what he did all the way home, all the way through the regular season. I thought his resume said that he should be the MVP. And if one voter had not voted for Justin Herbert and had voted for Drake Maye, he would have been the MVP. It took one vote to put him over the top as a first place vote. The point was that given what I couldn't see, I couldn't even recognize who he was for 3 quarters. I'm going to put 60% of the blame on him. I'll put 20% of the credit on Seattle's defense while you guys are giving all the credit to Seattle's defense. And I get it. They switched it up. They were 20-second blitzes during the regular season, and all of a sudden they went a little blitz for them. They were blitz crazy last night. They were clever and they were creative. And Witherspoon is so good at it. He made 2 guys miss on one blitz. Like how do you make 2 miss? There's not enough time, to make 2 miss and get to him. Okay, so but 20% there, and then I'm going to give the other 20% as blame to Will Campbell and company, because Will Campbell, I know he's a rookie, but he was the 4th overall pick, and I watched LSU a lot, and they just marveled at Will Campbell at LSU. I read last night when he was a freshman at LSU out of Monroe, Louisiana, Pro Football Focus graded him the 2nd best blocker in all of college football as a freshman.
Yeah.
And we're talking about first-team All-American, and he just looked overmatched last night. I know his arms are short, but he doesn't look athletic to me. He looks like he belongs at guard to me, not at tackle, at guard.
An argument there.
Right? And so it's such a liability that Drake Maye lost his confidence right away in his left tackle, in his backside, in the blind side, where remember, I just want to frame this with Seattle's defense. We're about to talk about their defense, but the Rams just went up and down the field against Seattle's defense. Just for the record, they went up and down the field and averaged 8.3 yards per play against the Rams defense. Against the Rams against Seattle's defense. So remember, not one time in 20 games had Drake Maye thrown 2 picks, multiple picks. He'd had ones, but never a 2. And they forced him into a 2 plus another lost fumble, which he'd been notorious for up to that point. So my blame goes mostly on Drake Maye more than I give credit to Seattle.
I go 50-50, man. It was a little bit of the defense. It was a little bit of Drake Maye, because the dark side defense, they get a nickname now.
You get that.
Yeah, you earned that. They earned that shit. That dark side defense, man, they kept them off balance. That's McDonald's is included in that. You know what I'm saying? So they kept them off balance, man. When they played cover 6, they matched that shit up perfect, and that made him hold the ball. Shit, with the 4-man rush winning, that turned into a fumble. Then they blitzed the shit out of him, like you said, uncharacteristically, whole bunch of nickel blitzes, all kind of blitzes. And then what they did behind the blitzes confused the shit out of them.
It did.
They ran a 2 deep, 4 under. You barely see that. You see it more now.
But it was 2 way deep, like
2 way deep, 4 under. He thought he had the flat. Oop, corner came off on the flat. Bam, smacked him.
Could did it numerous times.
Look, 3 deep, 3 under. Then they jump in man. They ran 0 blitzes. They switched the blitzes up.
And those zeros, they drop out
Bro,
too
they
underneath.
dropping out deep
Because you think, I got to throw it quick. Nope, deep tackles drop underneath.
Drop, man.
Now you second guess, boom, there's a sack.
It's crazy, man. So you confuse them one of those blitzes, that turned to a pick and a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So they did their job on confusing him, making it tough for him, and then that's their 50%. That's what they did. His 50% is, bro, you didn't do what got you here. You didn't throw your first ball down the field into the 4th quarter, and it was a touchdown.
Yep.
Like, why you ain't just give guys a shot? You know what I'm saying? Throw some back shoulder. Like, give them a shot downfield, bro. I feel like if you put a highlight of Drake Maye on, we're going to talk about how accurate that deep ball is.
That's true.
How you don't throw that bitch to the 4th quarter? You don't throw it to the 4th quarter. And then if you put the tape on, it's times where you just held the ball too long and you didn't do what got you here. You ain't run the ball. You had 66 yards versus the Chargers. You had 65 yards versus the Broncos. Bro, use your legs. And I can't put it on your shoulder because your shoulder was just fine in the 4th quarter. You threw for 235.
Yeah.
So I can't say, he was hurt for 3 quarters, and in the 4th quarter, you got used to it. Nah, bro. I done shot up a lot of times. I done shot my side.
Yep.
I done shot my knee. I done shot my ankle.
Yep.
It's not numb. You just don't feel the pain. You know what I'm saying? You actually like, oh, shit. I feel kind of good because I don't feel this pain. Like, I'm telling you, man.
Magic.
I'm telling you, it's magic. So I can't put it on his shoulder because of what you did in the 4th quarter. You didn't do for the other 3 quarters what got you here.
Yeah.
But that's your 50%.
I'm going to go 60 for the Seahawks defense and 40 for Maye. Only I got 40 for Maye is because he showed a lot of these characteristics throughout the playoffs. And the only thing that kind of got him out was taking those shots against the Texans downfield. You know, Boutte caught that one-handed in the end zone, which was a great catch, but he gave him an opportunity to make that catch. Other than that, against the Broncos, 86 passing yards. We seen it in the making. You come into and play a great defense, a different style of defense. They change shit up on you, throw you things that you haven't seen before, and that same quarterback came out again. And the turnovers, man. 4 fumbles against Houston, or 3 fumbles, or 4 fumbles and 3 losses against the Texans in that first playoff game, something like that. Came back against Denver, took care of the ball, but, it was snowing or whatnot. But the turnovers turned up again in the Super Bowl. And that's because of that defense. That's because you mentioned Stafford lighting this defense up. That's a divisional team, and they know if Stafford recognizes that blitz, he's going to find that guy open, and it's going to be a big play. So they played a different style of defense. They played a bend, don't break against Stafford. We're going to have, you get all these zones in the middle. Now, if Puka takes that ball and goes yard with it, that's something different. But the completions are going to happen within, the framework of the defense. We're not going to let nothing go over our heads. We're not going to try not to allow big plays. Things happen in football. Drake Maye couldn't recognize that. As soon as he got off his first read, he couldn't recognize where his second read was. Or if he found the first read, it was so much pressure on him, he couldn't get the ball there. So he was and is who we thought he was. A good quarterback that had the benefit of being able to run the ball and being on top most of the season. And when you ask him to come back from 12 to 13 points, 14 points, 2 scores, he can't do it.
So you're saying he's overrated?
Hey, yeah,
Right?
Hollywood, you said that, Skip.
No, you just made the
But
case.
look, hey, I'm a correspondent, and that's what it's looking to be. And you can say that the strength of schedule is still NFL football, but the strength of schedule is that for a reason. Because you do this in the regular seasons against teams that aren't that good. And when you get in the playoffs, the same things are going to occur against good teams. And you've been sliding by the skin of your teeth.
But I don't get it.
I mean,
You played good. You played 3 good defenses.
and I
in the
would
playoffs,
argue
though.
if we take that field goal and go up 10 points, we're in the Super Bowl with our
Yeah,
back.
but then you could argue that if he would have did something on first down, he might have came back and beat this
Like
team.
I said,
you know what I'm saying
he slid through, and you couldn't slide through to a championship.
I mean, 17 wins, though. I mean,
Like, that's fine.
you don't
It's
slide
MVP
through
runner-up.
Championship.
in year 2 as a starting quarterback.
Hey,
and he
you
didn't
don't
even
hold
start the
Lombardi
entire
you in the
first
same
season.
spot as the teams that didn't make the chip
Like,
or the playoffs.
I don't know. I just can't.
Yeah.
So he would deserve MVP? Is he MVP quarterback to you?
No. But I made an argument the other day on the
What
show
about you,
that
Skip?
we had a
MVP
question.
quarterback?
Get
Yeah,
that,
you-
I had him as a
Yeah, Skip had him as
wow.
MVP. No, I have Stafford. But the question was, were you surprised how close the MVP voting was? And I said, absolutely not. I thought Drake Maye balled this year. I thought he played really well. But when it comes to this question, yeah, obviously Drake Maye struggled in this game. He got out of his rhythm. He didn't play with great timing. He didn't have those anticipatory throws that he had during the regular season. But I can't put all of that on him because the offensive line struggled. I know you talked about him holding the football, but there were multiple times to where Will Campbell was just getting bull rushed right over the top, and he couldn't even hit his back foot and step up.
All right, so let me say this before you continue.
Go ahead.
How many sacks did they have in the regular season?
They get 47.
47,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Was he the MVP runner-up?
Yes.
So he did this shit all year. That's
Yeah.
what the offensive line
But a
was
big
all
reason
year.
for those sacks was because he would take off and run, and he held the ball. Yeah, he did, but
Man,
in
this is what this team has been all year.
Wait a
y'all
second.
giving up sacks.
Yeah.
Y'all had
and they-
pressure in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Will Campbell's pressure rate allowed in the first 2-3 playoff games was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
But that to me is more of a positive for Drake Maye because he's overcoming
He was.
those deficiencies with the offensive line and still was almost the MVP. That's impressive. Yeah, he knows he's going to take a lot of sacks. He's going to take hits. It didn't fluster him too much in this game. It got him. But that's because of that dark side defense. They
He
were.
threw for 86 yards against the Broncos.
He did throw for 86 yards, but
Yeah,
it was
but
a blizzard in the second
and
half.
he ran for 86.
I would argue if it wasn't a blizzard, he would have did worse because that defense would have
What you
been
just
on
talked about, too, earlier about Sam Darnold is knowing how to win games. Well, if you saw the play calling in that game, Josh McDaniels was running it first down run, second down run, third down run, punt. Make Stidham go beat us. He didn't put the ball in Drake Maye's hands a ton, and when he did, they ran a flea flicker to Hollins on a great throw, and then he took off and ran when some of the lanes opened up and picked up some big-time plays. So I don't want this to be – go ahead.
About Campbell, that speed and strength rush, he can't handle.
No.
Same shit happened.
And I think that MCL played a bigger factor than what they were saying. Remember, because he went on
sprained
IR
it.
for a while.
He was for
Then
4 games.
Yeah, and then he came back,
It
and
was
I don't
a
think he
big
ever
deal.
got back to being who he was.
I would agree.
But with that being said, yes, Drake Maye struggled, and the run game was non-existent. They ran for 79 yards. Drake Maye ran for 37 of those. He was your leading rusher. So you take those away, the other 2 backs, I don't think neither of them had over 30 yards rushing. It's just not a recipe for success for your young quarterback going up against that defense. But with that being said, I'm more 70-30 probably leaning towards giving credit to Seattle's defense instead of putting blame on Drake Maye, and the main reason because of the things you guys talked about. I mean, the line of scrimmage. They control the line of scrimmage with that defensive line. They went out and got a D-line and made it a point of emphasis that we're going to win in the trenches. That's what they do. Go find plays on tape where they're getting blown off the football. I promise you that you can't. They either stay at the line of scrimmage, keep it strong, off arm, and then shed and react, or they play on the other side of the line of scrimmage in the offensive backfield. Then in the back end with the linebackers and the safeties, they have so much talent. I've talked a lot about this scheme, but the versatility that they have on that roster allows them to do so many different things from a personnel standpoint and a schematical standpoint. Last night, Eamon Warrior was playing linebacker for the majority of the game. They're playing dime, and they're saying, hey, we're not worried about having a lighter box because he's big and he can play and stop the run as well. When you can do that and then play coverage off of it, it's just so much of an advantage for a defense. And then the last thing was the 3 things that describe this defense for me and Mike McDonald's play calling is unique, unconventional, and unpredictable. And a great example for that is, and we talked about it, but that last play that was, not last play, but the play that was the interception for a touchdown. What they did on that play is they come out, they just hit Hunter Henry on 3rd and 8 for a first down. Well, New England was going up tempo, so they wanted to go no huddle,
That's
right?
what I was talking about.
So they go no huddle. Hey, get up there, line up, let's call a play. Well, as a quarterback, I'm anticipating the defense to just go, hey, sky check, get the cover 3.
Yeah.
Let's go cloud, get the cover 2, line up and snap it because you don't have time to get a play call in. But Mike McDonald trusting his guys, you see him, it cuts to him, and he has the play sheet in front of his face. They're calling a pressure look. So New England is in a 2-jet protection, which means 4-down lineman to the Sam linebacker. The back has Mike to Will to full scan. The only thing that can hurt you is a wham pressure or anything coming from that side, which is Will plus Mike. That's exactly what they brought. But Drake Maye isn't ready for that because they're going no huddle. The other thing, too, that they did off of that was when you get a Mike Will pressure or a Mike Sam pressure, most of the time the safety's going to rotate and they're going to play a cover 3 fire zone behind it. They don't do that. What they do is they play cover 6 behind it, they cloud the boundary, they go match cover 4 to the field, and they let Eamon Warrior on the backside just cover the entire middle of the field, and he can do that. The only thing you can do as a quarterback to solve that problem, make a Roger call to 13, who's the Mike, change the protection there, or you throw hot off of that pressure. You see Diggs look at him because he's expecting the throw, but Drake Maye thought that he could beat the pressure with the throw, which was a go ball. You can't do it. It's a learning lesson. He didn't get it figured out. But because of those disguises with the coverage, because of them running a pressure look when you're going no huddle, it just is so difficult to go out there and attack that defense. So I got to give more credit to that defense more so than the blame on Drake Maye.
Good points. But allow me to conclude this topic by telling my Bronco brothers here that we need to admit that game would have been much better last night with Bo Nix in it.
Oh, it would have
man.
been amazing.
Hey, it would have been fun. I'm not sure you would have won, but he would have at least made it extremely watchable. And last night became pretty unwatchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Bo would have took off.
Bo would have, hey, the bigger the game,
But turn up.
bigger the Bo now.
Well, I'm actually surprised. So 60%
Don't do
of the
that.
chat is putting this on Drake Maye. So different than you boys. I mean, you put it on Seattle's defense majority. So would you say that this Seattle's defense is an all-time?